Hey guys, welcome back to Mr. D's Tech News and Reviews. So, I know a lot of you guys are still waiting for your DJI Mavic order, so in another attempt to ease the difficulty of that, I decided to show you guys exactly what to expect from the DJI Go app when using your Mavic. So first of all, you have the takeoff button, and then all you need to do is move over the slider. Under that is the return to home button, which will activate the fully automatic feature. Under that, you can find all of the different automatic modes, which I made a video of already, so make sure to check that out. At the bottom, you'll find a switch that will allow you to activate or disable beginner mode, which will help you if this is your first time flying a drone. On the bottom left, you have a small map that can be expanded to show your home point and location of your Mavic Pro. This little cog will show you all of the different geo warnings. The crosshair will focus back to your Mavic. The compass will switch between keeping the map static or turning as the Mavic moves. And then you have the different map skins. By tapping on the crosshairs on the image on the bottom left, it'll turn into a radar type display, which can be switched back by tapping on it. To go back, just tap on the map again. To the right of the map, you have some information. On the top is the distance from the home point and the height above the home point. On the bottom, you have the current horizontal speed, which is worth noting that many people have noticed that it's kind of bugged. I myself was mistaken and thought that the 60 mph speeds it was showing were correct, when in fact they were not. I'm sure the problem will be fixed soon though, and the RC controller always shows the correct speed anyways, so it's no big deal. Next to that is the vertical speed, and finally, the visual positioning sensor distance from the floor. If you look right above that, you'll see some red, yellow, and green lines. These are here to alert you of an upcoming obstacle. Usually, the Mavic will sense it and brake before hitting it, but always make sure to be aware just in case. Next up, on the top bar, you have a drone figure with the letters GPS next to it. That means that you're locked in with satellite signal. If it doesn't say GPS and it's in another mode, the Mavic will probably be more drone to drifting without input from the user. If you tap on it, you get to a settings menu where you can set your home point to where the Mavic is currently or wherever the RC signal is coming from. Then you can also set the altitude that the Mavic reaches when it returns home. You can turn off the sport mode from the software side of things. You can also turn on beginner mode from this menu as well. Below that, you can set the maximum altitude and flight distance, but always remember to stay within regulation. In advanced settings, you can further change the overall feeling of how you handle the Mavic. Although, you really shouldn't mess with this type of options if you're not experienced. Make sure to do your research before you touch anything. You can also set the default action if the Mavic loses signal. And you can basically set a kill switch for the rotors. Next to the GPS, you have a visual icon that shows you how many satellites you're connected to, and once you tap on that, you're in the visual navigation settings. Here you can find the options to turn on and off obstacle avoidance, downward vision positioning, ground smoothness check, precision landing, the ability to fly around obstacles while in tap fly mode, the ability to fly backwards as well as obstacle avoidance in active track. Then you have the RC controller signal bars that, when pressed, take you to the controller settings. Here you can calibrate the controller, set up the different modes for the sticks, set up what the C buttons do, and set up the 5D button as well. The HD button allows you to change the channel you're operating on, switch the resolution of your stream, and show you the rate of the image transmission. Then you have the battery life percentage. Once tapped, you get more in-depth information such as voltage, temp, how many cycles it's been through, and you can set your low battery warning anywhere from 50 to 15%, and the critical battery warning anywhere from 30 to 10%. And in the advanced menu, you can set the voltage to show on the main screen. Below the bar, you have the camera image information, such as ISO, shutter speed, exposure, and white balance. Next to that, you'll have a warning if there's no SD card, which is a great reminder. And on the right of that, you have a toggle between the exposure and autofocus, and a button to lock the auto exposure. Below which you have a button that allows you to switch between photography and video. Below that would be the shutter button, which at the moment is grayed out due to the lack of an SD card. Next, we have the camera settings. Here you can go between automatic and manual. And while in automatic, you can still change the exposure value, and the ISO and shutter will adjust accordingly. In manual, it's a different story. You can go from 100 to 1600 ISO and take the shutter speed from 8000 to 8 seconds for some cool night shots. Next, if you go to the following tab, you can select if you shoot in single shots, in HDR, in burst modes allowing anywhere from 3, 5, and 7, auto exposure bracketing, and shooting in intervals of 2 seconds up to 60 seconds. You also have the option to change the image ratio. The options they give you is 4:3 and 16:9. You can also change the image formats, all different white balances as well as custom. Different styles where you can adjust the sharpness, contrast, and saturation. You have color settings that are pretty much different filters or presets that you can put on your photos and videos. Then you come to the last tab where you can turn on and off different options such as the histogram, switch into portrait mode, turn off the front LEDs, turning on the grid, turning on the center points, and changing the anti-flicker rate. Once you switch to video, the first tab is the same, but you have a couple of different options in the second tab. Here, you can change the video size and frame rate. Then you have the option to change the format in which you're saving the videos. And then under that, you can switch between NTSC or PAL. If you choose the NTSC, the video frame rates options will be slightly different, and you can see them right here to the left. Then you have the white balance options, which are identical to the ones that you see while in photo mode. Then you have styles and color, which are also the same. And so is the last tab. At the very bottom right, you would also have the option to see what it is that you have on your SD card as far as media. But since there is no SD card, it's grayed out as well. If you tap the 3 dots on the top right, you get the general settings. Here you can switch between the different units of measurement, turning on manual focus, setting up a function for a long press on the screen, the different live streaming platforms such as Facebook and YouTube, some map and video cache options, and you can also go through your flight log information. Also, right above this tab, you'll see the gimbal settings tab that you may have seen in my other video addressing the tilted horizon problem. And here you can calibrate it and set it to exactly how you want it. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this rundown / tutorial on the DJI Go app for the Mavic. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more tech news and reviews. See ya!